All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, I'm Gates Emoji. He's Emerson Hip, and this is the Intoxicated Sports Report.
Who's playing tonight?
The Cowboys and the Giants are now playing on Thursday Night Football. It's the fourth quarter. The Cowboys are up 17-15. The Giants have kicked 5 straight field goals. Or, 5 field goals.
All 5 of y'all.
All 5. So, if you have him in your fantasy league, congrats. You're probably looking pretty good right now. But, yeah. I made a joke yesterday that I would have rather watched the A's final home game tonight, but they played this today.
Yeah.
So that's no excuse now. So I have to watch this game.
Let's drink to the A's final home game.
Yes, and I am, for the people watching, Sal probably gave me shit for this because that's just what he does naturally. I'm wearing I'd say, late 80s, early 90s A's starter jacket.
It's got some years on it. It looks good.
It's really nice, and I can't tell you the last time I've worn A's gear. It's probably been a long time. A really long time. If I have really ever.
I'm not even sure if I've ever worn A's gear, to be honest.
But I knew my mom had this because I always kind of think of her when I think of the A's because she kind of grew up going to the Coliseum and not grew up going, like went to games at the Coliseum and stuff. I think it was just probably because it was closer than the Candlestick at the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of a sad day for A's fans. I'm more wearing this in solidarity. I'm in no way an A's fan, really.
Yeah.
I don't really care for the A's. I've talked shit about them and their fans multiple times on this podcast. But today, you know what? I am drinking in solidarity of the A's and their fans. They're losing their franchise. I simply couldn't imagine doing that. So, cheers to the A's.
Very sad. I mean, we've talked about it plenty of times on this podcast, but it's another Oakland franchise gone. It's really, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But, they're going to spend at least a couple of years in Sacramento, so at least they'll still be close.
They're going to get a good crowd in Sac, too.
I hope so. It's going to be fun playing that little stadium, I think.
I mean, yeah, I know the stadium's not big, so you'd think they get a good crowd anyways, but the A's were only pulling in about 4,000 a day or a game anyways.
That was pretty frequent, yeah.
And how many's Rivercat Stadium do you think?
I think 10? I looked it up, it was 11.
11, yeah. So hopefully Sac will show up. Hopefully A's fans will maybe make the trek over there and go to a few games.
Yeah.
Some interesting facts I saw today was Ricky Henderson and Dave Stewart throughout the first pitch.
Nice. I saw Ricky was there. I didn't know Dave.
Did you know Barry Zito sang the national anthem?
Did he? That's cool. That's very cool.
It is pretty cool. Huh?
Yeah. Nice.
So,
at least John Fisher was cool enough to let them do that.
And I think
Sorry.
I think they had 40,000 today.
Is that right?
44,000.
Yeah, it looked like it was pretty full.
I mean, it's
based on what I saw.
I mean, I would have liked to have gone. I know it wasn't in the cards. Yeah. I think it would have been fun.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
And I want to say my first baseball game I ever went to was an A's game.
Is that right?
I remember it being so long ago. I remember sitting high up and how big it felt and how far away it felt.
Yeah. I remember sitting up there for an A's game when I was young, yeah.
So A's fans, sorry for your loss. We're here with you.
Yeah.
And, I don't mind rocking. My favorite color is green, so I don't mind rocking this jacket for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I probably will take it off during this podcast because this room gets hot.
Yeah. Even with the window wide open.
Even with the window wide open. What are we drinking today?
It's a light beer Thursday, baby.
Cheers. One more time. Cheers. I'm drinking a Coors Light, the pint.
I'm drinking a Bud Light. This is the first Bud Light I've had in a long time.
Bud Lights were in your fridge. I was shocked.
Yeah. Apparently, these were purchased for my dad's buddy's 60th birthday that they did not apparently need. So, they're here now.
Hey, more for us.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about these Coors Light. What are these? These are the pints, right?
Yep.
The resealable pints. They just hit different.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Coors Light guy.
I was when we were drinking them on Sunday. I was like, these are not as bad as I was used to think they were. But they got to be ice cold.
I can't. I can't. Well, I think that's pretty much any light beer
for sure.
But I can't explain it to you how I think this tastes better than a regular can.
There is something about it. There really is.
It's something different, right?
I think those things keep the beer colder too. I think it's just a better drinking experience than a bottle or a regular can.
And that's saying something because I'm a Bud Light guy, as you know, and I chose this first.
You did.
That's saying something. But yeah, it's good. Good to be here, man.
Yep.
It's good. Last week I was ready, and then when we started doing it, I was like, I just wasn't in.
Off your game a little bit.
I was kind of off my game a little bit.
Okay.
Well, not to say I'm always on my game.
Get on your fucking game.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. So
we got some nice crisp beer for you today. So hopefully it works.
One last thing about the A's. Well, they did win today.
They did. They won yesterday too.
They played Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers.
That's right.
And also kudos to you because you did say that the Texas Rangers would miss the playoffs.
Didn't you have him out or two, or did you have him in?
I got it right here, and I had him as my 6th seed.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was wrong on that, which is fine. But, you said the whole Bruce Bochy effect. Win the World Series, miss the playoffs. Win the World Series, miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you know what that means. Rangers, World Series champions next year. Book it.
That's right. Should we segue right into our MLB section of the show?
Absolutely.
So we're down to the final week. We actually basically 3.5 days left, if you're including today. I know the Dodgers and Padres play tonight. There's definitely a score that I need to check in on at some point here. But let's see, actually. This is going to affect what I'm about to say. So the Yankees won. So now 5 of the 6 divisions in Major League Baseball have been decided.
Okay.
The champion, that is. The Yankees clinched the American League East today. Astros, once again, American League West champions. In the American League Central, we got the Guardians from Cleveland.
Okay.
NL Central, the Brewers. And in the NL East, the Phillies are division champions there.
Okay.
How well did you do on your division champions?
I had Orioles, Astros, Twins. So I only had one of those right.
Yeah.
And then I had Braves, Dodgers, Cubs.
So, yeah, I only have one right at this point, too. It's the Astros. Yeah.
Well, I mean the Dodgers.
And then, the Dodgers are likely going to win.
Yeah.
But they have not clinched yet. They're playing the Padres tonight. If they win, they will be division champions once again.
Okay.
But it's a slim chance for the Padres to win it at this point.
Yeah.
So it's likely going to go through. Did you have the Padres make the playoffs?
I did as my 5 seed.
Same. There we go.
Okay.
So yes, back to the playoff races. Both the Yankees and Dodgers. So the Dodgers can now clinch their division tonight, of course, with a win, like I just mentioned. In the wild card races, the Orioles clinched the 4th seed. The Royals and Tigers, they're tied for the 5th and 6th seed, and they lead the Twins by 2.5 games.
Okay.
So they're both likely to be in with only 3 games left. Also on the National League side, Padres, they've clinched the 4th seed. Of course, still alive for the National League West title. And then the Mets and Diamondbacks are tied for the 5th and 6th seed, respectively. And they lead the Braves by just 1 game. Wow. What's interesting about this is the Mets and Braves had a makeup game yesterday get postponed again. And so they have to play a doubleheader on Monday with potentially their seasons on the line, which is going to be tough. And think about it. The team that comes out victorious out of that is going to have to play again on Tuesday with no day off.
Oh, because that's when the wild card.
Because that's going to decide the wild. Most likely going to decide the last wild card.
Wow.
spot.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of drama coming down to the end, and the Diamondbacks are hoping for some luck on their side as well.
I had them as my 6th seed in the National League, so
I had them just outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that I was really high on the Orioles. I had them losing in the World Series.
I mean, the Orioles were playing really good ball until the last couple months. You know, they were.
I mean, they still have a chance.
Yeah,
right?
they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they will be there. Yeah. So who'd you have in your World Series again? Was it Baltimore?
Dodgers over the Orioles.
Dodgers, Orioles. I had the Astros and Phillies. With the Phillies winning. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's still alive for me.
Yeah. I think we're both still alive.
Yep. Absolutely.
Can't complain about that.
Yeah, that's all I got for baseball.
The Giants, last game of the season on Sunday.
Coming up, yep.
How many games did you go to this year?
5.
Went to 5.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
And the 5th game I went to was in July, so I had a chance to go even further, but I just never was able to get to a game since then.
Yeah, well, I mean, I only went to 2, and it was in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
Because the last game I went to was
technically, yeah.
Was that Blake Snell?
Right before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last game I went to as well. I would have liked, because I believe my personal record in the season is 6. I would like to have broken that, and I had a chance. It just, we were busy. We had bachelor party, podcast is back in full swing now, so, yeah. Made it a little tougher.
And life.
And life.
In general.
And life in general. Absolutely.
And with this Giants season, I'm okay with not going to a ton of games.
Yeah.
Love going to the ballpark, love doing that, but...
Well, they had such, they were... off to a good start, and then, kind of tanked in the middle of the season, and then they looked like they were going to be in the mix again, and then, of course, let us down in the end. Of course, they're playing great baseball, outside of last night, playing great baseball since they've been eliminated. Yeah. Love that.
The 2 games that I went to, which was both were with you and Dev, and other people as well.
W's?
Walk-off W's.
That's right.
I mean, you kind of. I mean, going to a walk-off game is fun because like you're in it the whole game.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a blowout on either end. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
Like when are we going to the high dive?
Right.
You know what I mean, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was can't complain about that. One thing I'm going to ask you about the Giants, and then we can stop talking about the Giants until
Until next year.
until next year, unless they sign Juan Soto
There you
or
go.
something. I heard, and we all know this, that the City Connects that they've worn are done.
Sayonara.
Does this mean I could take it out of ISR jail about the hats?
I think so. And I'm glad you mentioned it because I was thinking about it and I forgot to put it in our notes. But yes, I think it's good to go.
Is it good to go?
It's free.
It's done. It's out.
It's free. I mean, basically, we could just say it died in jail.
Okay. Should I put in parentheses died?
Yes, you should.
Okay, well,
Absolutely should.
okay, it's great.
Now we can talk all the shit we want about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm super excited to see the new one, but I'm interested. Like I told you guys the other day, hoping for a little black in there.
Oh yeah.
And not that neon orange. Definitely can keep that out of there. But I think something different's cool. I think, like you mentioned too, the only kind of bummer about this is that the Giants were really good in those uniforms.
Because they had a pretty good record,
like an
right?
insanely good record. I think it was over 700. So
and they kind of grew on me like the orange hats. Obviously we didn't talk about it ever, but ugly. I didn't mind the all white personally. I mean, it was just kind of different.
I think the all white is fine. I think it's the shade of orange that they chose to go with it was just so.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, it was too much.
So hopefully they can do better.
Yes, I hope they do. And we're still waiting on Orange Fridays to go away.
God, bring back
Black
Fridays.
I know that's supposedly a national holiday right after Thanksgiving, but
No.
fuck them.
I just the Orange Fridays, man.
They're just not good.
They're tough.
They're not good.
They're
Not easy on the
very
eyeballs.
very tough. They should have jerseys that say "Fuck McCovey Cope Dave." Has anybody heard anything about that guy? No.
He might be dead.
Is anyone throwing eggs at him?
Yeah, right.
Has he been going to the ballpark? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if he's going to be there this weekend. What kind of stones does he get?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Giants going for on fourth.
They pretty much have to. I think they probably got it.
Yeah. 5 minutes left. This is a tight one.
Yep. 5:20 left. Cowboys up 20-15. But of course, by the time you hear this podcast, the game will be over.
Yeah.
So you're either going to see me be like kind of happy or disappointed. 'Cause the Cowboys should win this game.
Should be.
But if they win this game, you're like, well, it was the Giants.
Right.
So it's.
I believe they were 5-point favorites at kickoff.
Yeah. So you kind of got to take it for what it is.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to surprise part 2 of the NBA Top 30 that we began. I think this might have been about a month ago, give or take. We're going to do 11 through 20 today, or 20 through 11, I should say. We'll recap 21 through 30, which goes as follows. We had James Harden in the 30 spot, which we kind of had a tough time figuring out what that was going to be.
The 30th spot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think if I remember correctly, I was thinking like LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned maybe Bam Adebayo, which I didn't really think he was. Just people. It's hard for me to get to that point of this list.
Yeah. Brandon Ingram was in the 29th spot. Paolo Banchero 28. John Morant 27. Who it'll be interesting to see what he can do being fully healthy. Hopefully this year. Yeah. Damian Lillard 26. De'Aaron Fox 25. Karl Anthony Towns 24. Kyrie Irving 23. Mm-hmm. Zion 22, and Donovan Mitchell 21. Now, I'm trying to remember. Was it you in the odd? Did you pick first? I'm trying to remember. I think you did.
I believe so.
Okay. I'm trying to remember.
Actually, no, because I think
I picked first.
because you picked LeBron third, which I thought was pretty high.
Yes.
Even though, I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but I put
Gage is giving away secrets.
Oh, sorry.
I'm kidding. It's all good. It's all good.
My bad.
It's all good. No, because I'm looking at it now, and I'm
I totally believe that.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
So stay tuned for the rest, except for 1 and 3.
Right. So get us started with number 20, Gage.
Number 20, we have Devin Booker, and
I'm trying to remember where I had him personally.
Yeah, I don't even know what I did with my. I think I had it like on a sticky note. I threw it away.
Yeah. He's an interesting one because obviously he's been to a finals. That was God. That was kind of a long time ago now, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Now he plays with two other like scorer superstar type players, and they haven't been terribly successful. But I still think he's obviously a really good player.
Oh, he's a bucket.
He can score as well as most guys.
He can get anywhere he wants.
Yeah, pretty much.
And score.
Yeah. I feel like do you think it's like the last year of that experiment? Like if it doesn't work again, do you think they got to kind of make a big change?
Well, I mean, aren't they kind of stuck with Bradley Beal for a little bit?
It just kind of feels that way. But I mean, you can get out of contracts, I guess, with a trade, but usually that's not ideal.
It wouldn't shock me if they try again this year and then.
I could see KD wanting to just.
I was just gonna say, take the words right out of my mouth because it's what we're used to at this point.
Right.
Him bouncing around. It's just sad. I don't like seeing really good players bounce around. Don't like it for the legacy.
I mean, he's like 36 now.
He is getting long in the
So I can understand why he would be impatient, but I think some teams have shown that continuity is really important. I mean, Celtics last year, the Nuggets the year before that. Those are younger teams, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
But still, I think you got to try and create continuity as best you can these days.
But out of those three, Beal, Booker, and KD, I think, and it might sound crazy, I'd probably keep Devin Booker out of those three guys.
He's
to build around the franchise.
He's the best of the younger two, for sure. Like,
I mean, KD's KD, but he's been hurt and he is getting older, like we just said.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Number 19, I put Jimmy Butler. Obviously, another guy that's on the wrong side of 30, but I think great leader.
Great. I mean, he's a winner. Like he can find a way to win.
He's one of those guys that it's like actually it's gotten to the point where it's almost a little shocking that he doesn't have a championship.
Yeah, I mean he's been to the finals twice.
Yeah, he's kind of dragged teams to the finals. So you could argue, like he's been. I don't think anyone thinks he's like a top 10 player, but he's been obviously the best player on those teams, or most important player on those teams that have been to finals.
Yeah.
So he's an interesting one, but I think it's hard. Like obviously we're at number 19, so we're not thinking that highly of him, where he's going to be a guy that takes a team to a championship by himself. But he definitely hell of a competitor for sure.
18, Paul George. Paul George, to me, what do I think about Paul George? He is kind of in that. No, that's not good. Micah Parsons getting walked off the field. At least he's walking, but I don't like that. Paul George is also a bucket, kind of like Devin Booker, but he plays better defense, I would say.
100%.
A little more lengthy.
I think you can plug him into more teams. Like I don't love him as because I think I personally had him a little lower. I don't love him as a guy that would be my best player on a team, at least not at this stage. But like I think him fitting on the Sixers is actually a really good fit on paper.
I think it is too.
It's a really good fit on paper. I don't know how it's going to, result as far as the win-loss column and going deep in the playoffs, but I think he's definitely a really great. You put him on any team and he's going to help. Daniel Jones, fourth down. Oh, is he in bounds?
No, he dropped it.
Oh, he dropped it.
Wow, he had it though.
That might be the game.
Neighbors, get up, boy. Please get up.
He's dead.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
Yeah, because with Embiid and Maxey,
clearly he's not going to be asked to be the number one guy.
No, and I think he's one of those guys. I think he's kind of like
He's a great number two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like if you have him as your number two, I think that's why with the Warriors, I think they want him so.
They'd go hard after him.
Man, Neighbors did
he had it. It just slipped out of the end. It looks like.
Jeez. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Paul George, really solid player. He's another guy who's had injury history. Also, hasn't really been a guy that's been the number one option on a team in a long time. I mean, you pretty much got to go back to Indiana, which he's been on two teams since then. He was with OKC for a little bit, and then Clippers, obviously, most recently. So, number 17, I have Jalen Brunson, who he's a surprise kind of player. He's a tough little guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, it'd be interesting to see what he'd be. I mean, I don't know. The Knicks are not a team full of stars. They're kind of a bunch of role players. So, and he took his team to the brink of a conference championship last year.
Yeah.
He has a bunch of big games and big moments. You know, he drops 40 like it's nothing in playoff games.
I feel like he was scoring like a madman last year.
In some respects, I feel like he could be higher on this list. That's my personal opinion, but yeah, still being at 17, I wouldn't take him, you know, by himself amongst some of these other guys that are ahead of him. But yeah.
So you wouldn't. So you think he's not? You don't think he? You think he could lead a team?
I think he could be.
Like he could be number one.
Like
I kind of think he could be like exceptionally well number two.
Yes.
Like, I bet you the Dallas Mavericks wish they had him still.
Well, I mean, the Kyrie thing is working out pretty well. True. It didn't work out the first half season or whatever, but I think it's working out pretty good now. They went to a finals. But yeah, I don't think they'd be mad having. But there's also that argument that we would not have known what Jalen Brunson is if he didn't leave Dallas.
That's a good point.
Yeah, or what he could be.
Yeah.
I think he's a guy that I could see being on a playoff team as your leader. I'm not sure he's going much without like another really good player or like the best supporting cast. Like he had a really good supporting cast this year with the Knicks, even with Julius Randle being out.
Yeah,
I think second round is probably his peak.
Yeah. Number 16, Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown. Do you think he should be higher on this list?
I don't. I actually had him a lot lower personally, and not because what he did in the finals, obviously winning MVP, great. But I do feel like that's just such an exceptional team, and he does play a big role. But I don't know that I could see him being the lone star on a team and taking them deep in the playoffs. You know?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
because when I watch his game, I don't think superstar number one.
Right. He's kind of. You could maybe argue he's got some Jimmy Butler qualities, but I just don't know if I see him being efficient enough of a scorer on a consistent basis to just take a team to the finals. Like
the one thing I like about him a lot, the same thing with Jimmy Butler, is like they got that dog, and they don't you're not gonna fuck with them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No, yeah, they're definitely
it ain't happening.
They're stone cold for sure.
Yeah. So, and I think that works because Jason Tatum is clearly the better. More gifted player.
Yeah, more talented player.
But lacks that
alpha,
that anger, that alpha, that dog.
I agree.
So I think that's why they bounce each other out so well. And I think that's why the Celtics are in a really good position.
For sure, 100%.
Because can you imagine putting them together as one? Like, can you imagine if Jason Tatum had what Jaylen Brown has inside of him? You know what I mean? And not to say Jaylen Brown or not to say Tatum doesn't have that, but if he does, he doesn't show it.
Right.
Like Jaylen Brown might.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 15, I got Tyrese Halliburton. Might be somewhat of a surprise, but he took a team to a conference finals just this past season. Not a star-studded team by any means either. Kind of similarly to Jalen Brunson. He beat Jalen Brunson in a series. So I think that, in my mind, that gives him a leg up over him. He's a dimer. He can shoot the three pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think he's still a really young player too. So there's a lot of room for improvement, I think, even for his game. Being a point guard that can kind of do it all, that's pretty important, I think, when you're trying to build a team.
Yeah.
Obviously, once again, not in the same class as some of the other guys that you see in the top 10, but still a really, really dynamic player.
When I see Halliburton play, I'm like, man, the Kings had him.
Yeah.
But they made the trade with Sabonis, and it's worked out really well on both ends.
Yeah.
Might be the best. Might be the most equal trade of all time.
Right. Yeah, because I don't know that the way they were built, that Sabonis was ever going to be able to take them anywhere. He was going to be he could put up stats for that team, but I don't know if he was going to do anything beyond that.
Number 14, and now that I'm looking at it, it probably is a little high, but Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, I know. I like it. It's probably higher than I had him, but the dude. I'm very interested to see what he does this year because that's kind of what we're thinking about with this list. Building a team around a player for this coming season. I think he has a chance to be sick.
He does.
He played really well in the Olympics. Yeah,
and he could shoot it. He could defend. Obviously, being 7'5", wherever he is, it helps.
Yeah,
But I put a lot of this into his age too. But I think if you were to put a good amount of players around him, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, if you built the right roster around him, I don't even think you need necessarily I mean, having another good scorer, that would make the Spurs a good threat in the West. I don't know about a championship team, but I like the idea of having Chris Paul there, kind of to. I don't want to say mentor him, but it's kind of that. Like him and Pop together, I think that's a great combination of like leadership for him and for that young team. So I like Wemby at 14. I think that's good.
All right, cool.
13, another potential surprise, but I got Sabonis.
That shocked me. That shocked me.
Yeah, I think what he, especially last year, I think he took his game to another level. I think he was actually, because De'Aaron Fox took a step back, especially from an efficiency standpoint for the Kings last year, and Sabonis took his game, I felt like, to another level. He's not Jokic, but he is. I think you could argue a poor man's Jokic, where he'll take that ball at the top of the key, he'll control the game through the high post, takes what the defense gives him, and he can score inside. Shoots that little jumper sometimes. It's not like his best shot, and plays good enough defense. I think sure you could argue like he can be a little soft in the playoffs, but that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think he's grown since then. Even I think he's good.
So you think Sabonis is better than De'Aaron Fox?
I think he was more important to the team last year.
Okay,
for sure. Yeah. And I don't know, that could change this season.
Okay,
but I felt like Fox, especially his shooting numbers, were definitely down.
Yeah, he had an off year.
Yeah,
he had an off year
compared to the year before.
Yeah. Number 12, Anthony Davis, perennial Defensive Player of the Year player. He can also shoot it.
Yeah.
He's not always on the court, which is an issue. Putting that aside, he is still a really good player, and he's still pretty young, isn't he?
I think he's like 30, so he's got some years left.
He's been in the league for a long time, but he's still hardly like 30, maybe 31.
Yeah, I worry about his durability long term, and he's been relatively healthy the last couple of years. But, I mean, I think defensively you could argue the most valuable defensive player there is in the game today. I think he can score. I think having LeBron next to him helps his offense quite a bit because LeBron opens things up for him a little bit.
And Anthony Davis is a number 2.
Yeah.
I think we learned that in New Orleans.
I think you put him and ask him to be like your lead scorer. I don't think that's going to be a great offensive team, but I think what he does bring defensively is just that good that he does deserve to be this high. I think that's a good pick at 12. Number 11, I got Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, he had one of his healthiest seasons until right before the playoffs last year. So this is a tough one. But I don't think you could go that much further, say in a fantasy draft of GMs and not pick this guy at this point. Just because of what he brings on both ends of the court. He's led a team to a championship, beat sort of a dynasty, if you will. It wasn't that long ago; it was about 5-6 years ago now. So I think, Brandon Aubrey, that could have been the sealer.
See, why didn't Mike McCarthy right there? So Brandon Aubrey missed his first field goal of the year.
Yeah,
would have put him up 8 points with 30 seconds left. Why didn't Mike McCarthy right there call a timeout? And then just start this, just call a timeout, and then you can really sit there and take more time off the clock.
So was the clock running when he kicked it?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
And the Cowboys have free timeouts, so it's like they have the timeouts.
That is odd.
And this is Mike McCarthy. We all know is not good at time management. But wouldn't you just?
That is really weird.
Wouldn't you call the timeout?
I was not aware of that.
Call the timeout. Let him. Yeah.
Interesting.
Let him, calm down. So it's like they're rushing it.
Right.
And I know that's kind of like what they're supposed to do is know in that situation what to do. But now the Giants, they score a touchdown, they win the game.
Yeah, that's pretty odd.
But they have no timeout, so you got to hope.
Oh shit,
man! We'll see how this game ends.
Yeah, okay. That is very curious.
Isn't that? Yeah, you see the timeouts. Yeah. It's call the timeout and let him relax.
Yeah,
for a second.
get him relaxed. Let him set up.
I don't know.
That was weird.
This could be a classic. And that could have been caught, and that could have been dangerous because there's nobody near him. He would have fell down.
Oh, fuck.
So, anyways.
Would you have Kawhi Leonard any higher or lower than 11, you think? I mean, without, talking too much about who was going to be in our top 10.
No, I won't talk anymore about who's in the top 10. Right now, probably not. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to... I think there's one guy that I don't want to get in too far on, just because I'm not sure that he's quite there yet. But obviously still a very, very good player. But I think right around there. Like I said, I don't think there's anyone really below him that I could make an argument for at this point.
Yeah.
All right, there's 20 through 11.
Yeah, so look forward to 10 through 1, although you know who 2 of them are.
Yeah, right.
So that's my bad.
Yeah,
that's my bad.
10 through 1s, we're probably going to do that. Let's plan for maybe the season opening episode where we do our predictions and all that. We'll let you know who 10 through 1 are. But yeah, so 20 through 11, Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Jalen Brunson, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Halliburton, and that's the game. Victor Wembanyama, Domantas Sabonis, Anthony Davis, and Kawhi Leonard. Cowboys sealed it.
All right.
Is that what's his fuck?
Mike Zimmer.
Mike Zimmer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
did you see?
defensive
I didn't
coordinator.
know he was still coaching. Jesus Christ.
I think Dak Prescott has like a pretty damn good record against the Giants in his career too.
I think he does too.
Like maybe 1 or 2, like 2 losses maybe. So yeah, Cowboys get their second win of the year. Very exciting. It's kind of weird. Well, not very exciting, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's weird because we're going to talk about the Cowboys last week, which I really don't want to do. But it's one of those weird situations where we got to talk about them last week, even though we just saw them win this week.
He's now 13-2 against the Giants.
Wow.
That's pretty dominant.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay.
Mike McCarthy, work on your time management skills, please.
Yeah.
Give Brandon Aubrey some time.
Could be better. Well, fumbles. No, just kidding.
God.
All right, college football. Had a few good games this week. You got your pick right with Michigan, number 18. They beat number 11 USC at home, 27-24. I think the quarterback change worked. I didn't realize that it was actually they were swapping out quarterbacks. It wasn't.
Oh, really?
It wasn't due to injury.
Okay.
They brought in Alex Orji, who's more of a running quarterback.
Who?
Alex Orji. Yes, you heard that right.
Wow. How's it spelled?
Orji, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hear it and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, more of a running quarterback. I think he only threw for like 30 yards in the game.
You hear Orgy and you think,
that was easy.
Something like that, right?
You're stupid. Michigan ran for 290 yards in this game. They went 3 for 4 on fourth down as well. Khalil Mullings, 159 yards, 2 tutties, and had the game winner with 37 seconds left in the game. So yeah, they kind of owned the game. They let USC get back in it. USC actually took the lead in the fourth quarter before Michigan took it back at the very end of the game. But yeah, good win for Michigan. I feel like I don't know how good they really are, but they got themselves at least back in the conversation for a playoff spot.
All right.
Yeah. Also, number 12, Utah, in their Big 12 debut, beat number 14, Oklahoma State on the road. It got a little interesting at the end, but they did dominate most of this game. They were up 22-3 with about 6 minutes left, but they let Oklahoma State in it with a couple late touchdowns. But another situation where they just ran wild, 250 yards on the ground for Utah. So good for them. Also, sorry, Nick and your Sooners, but they took the L to Tennessee this week.
Danny's Volunteers,
that's right. They lost that one 25-15. Tennessee, they just stuffed the run. 36 rushing yards for Oklahoma on 34 attempts. That's absolutely stonewall right there.
It is.
And OU quarterback Jackson Arnold, very highly touted prospect, benched after going just 7 for 16 for 54 yards and a pick.
Jeez, okay.
Not a good line. So I'm sure they're hoping he bounces back because they got another big game this week against Auburn.
Yeah. I thought Oklahoma's quarterback was, who would Sal call him?
No, he's on.
He's on Oregon now.
He's
Okay,
on Oregon
that's
now,
why
yeah.
he said the fake Mariota.
Yeah.
Or the wannabe Mariota.
Lefty Mariota.
Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, it was interesting. I don't know why he left, but yeah, he decided to move on. Also, did you see that Colorado game?
No.
It was fucking. The ending was nuts. It was against Baylor, I believe. They threw a Hail Mary to try and tie the game at the end, and they got it. Basically,
Oklahoma
Colorado.
Colorado did.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
No, I didn't see that.
And they won in, I believe it was a double overtime. Yeah, pretty wild game. Let's recap our picks from last week.
Now that is a light beer.
I'm gonna have to do a little comparison here in a second. Gage moving on to Bud Light.
Yeah, have to. I mean, I'm going to give you the other silver bullet.
Thanks,
I
Tom. Appreciate
I
you.
got some respect.
Preach. So last week, Gage, 1-2 for you. I went 2-1. I got you on that Tennessee versus Oklahoma matchup. Also, my Hawkeyes.
Okay.
I'll say our Hawkeyes.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're on the team, baby.
Appreciate it.
You're
I was there when we started. Come on.
That's right. They covered the 2.5 easily with a 31-14 win over Minnesota. Fuck the Gophers.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. So this week, who you got, my friend?
I'm going number 2 ranked Georgia, -2 against number 4 ranked Alabama. That
Love
should
it.
be a
Big time matchup.
Big time matchup.
Yeah.
Good game.
In Bama.
Probably won't watch it, but I'll pay attention to the
Yeah,
score.
I didn't see what time that game's on. It's probably gonna be like
Probably 1.
3:34. It could be 1. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see.
My second pick, I'm going number 21 Oklahoma. Nick, I'm rolling with your team again. If they fuck me over, I'm done.
Yeah, this is the last chance.
They got -1 against Auburn. When you see the name Auburn, I'm kind of like, wait, should I go against Auburn?
You're
But I know
like
Auburn.
Cam Newton.
I know Auburn. I know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what they're Trey Mason.
Trey Mason. Yeah, that was a good team too.
I thought he was going to be really good. In the
Yeah.
NFL. That's one of those guys. I thought was going to be really good.
Do you remember who he played for?
Oh, like who he got drafted to?
Yeah, like who? Like because I feel like he did play in the NFL, right?
Man.
Yeah, I don't want to make you think about it too
No,
hard
I
about
have
it.
no idea. I have no idea, honestly. And I'm picking number 20. I'm going to both Oklahomas this week. Big Oklahoma guy. We're going to be there in 2 weeks.
That's right.
Why not, right?
Preparing yourself.
Preparing myself. I'm going number 20 Oklahoma State +5 at number 23 ranked Kansas State.
Big 12 matchup.
Yeah.
All right, my 3 picks. I'm going with number 19 Illinois +19.5 at Penn State. Number 9 Penn State, that is.
I didn't even want to touch that line.
I like that 19 points. I mean, I think Penn State's a good team, but I don't know if they're that good. So we're gonna give a little respect to the state of Illinois today. My next pick is number 15 Louisville +7 at number 16 Notre Dame. We've seen Notre Dame be upset by a small school.
Yeah.
So
NIU, baby.
Yep.
NIU.
So we're riding the Cardinals this week, plus the points. I'm also going to go against you. I'm taking number 4 Alabama +2 at home versus the Georgia Bulldogs.
Roll damn tide.
Roll
huh?
damn tide. That's
Roll
right.
damn tide.
It's Kalen DeBoer's time to shine. Nick Saban's not around anymore, but still got a good coach there.
That would be a really good win to get in your first year.
Yeah.
In your first couple of games
Yeah.
as head coach.
Tell Kirby Smart to suck.
That would get all the Alabama fans on board.
Oh, he would be.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly.
They'd be like, oh, we got the next Saban. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, okay. All culture ball is not hoping that's the case.
No, definitely not.
Absolutely not. Not a chance.
Alrighty, Gage, lead us off with the NFL.
First off, I keep meaning to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to say anything about the hat? For those watching, you want to explain what you're wearing and why you're wearing it?
Yeah, I got my my sun hat on. It's got the little American flag underneath. Kind of douchey, but just trying to get some good vibes in here. Football season's been a little wonky to start.
Yeah.
So trying to get things back on track, trying to change it up. This could be the hat for the rest of the year if the Niners don't lose again. I should say.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it is.
They're also playing the Patriots, which is the very patriotic.
Just saying. America's team just won too. So.
Yeah. Shit. Well, hey, yeah, you got to win, so.
I was going to say it's a bummer Thursday because both our teams did lose once again.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of not as much of a bummer because the Cowboys did win.
Train slightly back on track.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's like halfway.
Steering that way.
on the tracks.
Yeah.
But I'd forgive the Cowboys play next week. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Some surprise 3-0 teams. The Vikings, Steelers, and your Seattle Seahawks.
All 3 teams that I don't believe we had any of them making the playoffs in our predictions. If I'm not mistaken.
I guess I could check mine real
Yeah.
quick. I'd say maybe I picked the Seahawks, but I don't even think I did.
I don't think you did.
No.
I feel like you went Niners Rams out of that division, no?
Yeah. Yeah, pick it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Which, I'm sure a lot of people did too as well.
Yeah.
Are you buying any of these teams?
They're all interesting. I mean, the Seahawks, they're all playing great defense so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're all allowing less than 15 points a game so far.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings are the one that I'm buying the most because I think Sam Darnold is fitting in really well in that system with Kevin O'Connell.
Shocking.
I'm not that surprised. I mean, if he would have sucked, we could have all just said, yeah, it's Sam Darnold. We knew he wasn't that good. Mm-hmm. But obviously, he was a very high draft pick, back in his draft class. So we knew there was some talent there. It's just been waiting to be, unleashed. He's been playing for bad teams with the exception of being a backup for the Niners last year, which I think was actually really good for him. So I think the Vikings are the team I'm buying the most, but I do think the Seahawks are pretty legit. The Steelers got a great defense. The quarterback situation and their offense just in general is a little suspect. But I'd say the Vikings the most.
If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the Seahawks because they have done it with Geno making the playoffs.
True, yeah.
I'd say that. I'd also give a little bit of a nod to the Steelers because we know Mike Tomlin doesn't have any below 500 seasons.
Which is insane.
Which means they will be in the mix a little bit unless shit hits the fan in this season. Which if Justin Fields is playing well enough.
He's playing good enough, yeah. That's a good point.
Knowing Mike Tomlin, even if Russ Wilson's healthy, they're not going to play him unless Justin Fields really shows that he can't play.
Yeah, which I think is entirely possible.
Yeah. And the Vikings, it's tough. Because all three of these quarterbacks, I don't love. I don't see hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at any point or even getting close.
Yeah, I don't think any of them.
For some reason, with Darnold, it's really hard. If I had to pick one, I'm picking the Seahawks.
Okay.
But I don't expect any of them to make the playoffs. Well, they're all 3-0, though.
They're all 3-0. It's going to be hard, yeah.
It's hard.
It would be, I wouldn't say a meltdown, but it would be a disappointment, I think, for all of those fan bases if none of them made the playoffs.
I guess I would expect the Vikings and Seahawks to make the playoffs. I think the Steelers could get to the point where they kind of fall off a little bit.
Right.
I think this Justin Fields high, although he is my fantasy quarterback this week. Fourth different quarterback in 4 weeks.
Yeah, love it.
I hope this week he's fine, but I could see a possible roller coaster of quarterbacks.
They feel like the team that's just 9-8 all the time, so I could easily see that happening. Exactly. And that's not a guarantee to make the playoffs, right?
0-3 teams: Jaguars, Titans, and your Super Bowl winning Cincinnati Bengals. Do you think any of these teams are going to make the playoffs?
I'm not off the Bengals train yet. I don't think the Jags and Titans.
You can't be.
No, I mean,
if they start 0-4, then that's when you gotta.
Yeah, because they're playing fucking what?
The Panthers.
Carolina. They have to be Carolina.
They have to.
I will be off the train for sure if they lose to Carolina. But I still got faith in Joe Burrow. It wasn't like their offense is bad. Their defense is a little suspect right now. They gotta get that figured out. But yeah, I think the Bengals have certainly the best chance.
Yeah.
The Titans, I didn't think were going to be good.
No.
The Jags, I was on the fence about them. Like I could have seen them making the playoffs, but after this start, Trevor Lawrence not looking like he's
our boy Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, T-Law.
Just
yikes. So yeah, I'm going Bengals best chance.
Gotta go Bengals too.
Yeah.
It just seems like the most obvious pick. You know what? I'll give you this. If they lose to the Panthers and Andy Dalton, then they go 0-4, I will let you re-pick a Super Bowl pick.
No, I don't.
I will do that for you.
I don't need that.
I'll give you a pass. You don't need that pick.
I mean, sure, I will pick someone, but it doesn't count. We'll just say that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll let you. It'll be on paper.
Yeah.
But I'll let you be like, you know what? I'm gonna pick this team.
Yeah.
Or that team. Like I said, the Ravens, or I didn't say, but the Cowboys lost last Sunday, or on Sunday, to the Ravens. Ravens beat them 28-25. It really wasn't that close.
Yeah.
It was like, what, 28-3?
Or at least 21-3, right?
21-3 at one
something
point.
like that.
This is one of those games, it was kind of like how the Saints game was 2 weeks ago. Because we were all over at Garrett's watching the games, and he has red zone, so you can kind of like mess around and watch different games and all that. It got to the point where I was like, you know what, you guys can just throw in the Niner game. Seriously, it was like, not that the Niner game was any better.
Yeah.
Because the Niners were kicking
Actually,
ass.
the Niners were...
And then, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But it's... The Cowboys... It was a gauged guarantee, so I felt pretty smart on that. Even though I did get close. It did. I saw a twinkle in your eye when you saw the score, and you were hoping that I was going to walk over to Pueblo Market and get some MD 2020.
I wouldn't have been mad.
Because I would have walked my ass, or maybe drove, which I probably shouldn't have, but maybe drove and got some MD 2020. I would have done that for you in that moment.
Would have been phenomenal.
So the game wasn't that close. A lot of garbage time points by the Cowboys. This is still, classic Cowboys that cannot beat the good teams. All of a sudden, the Cowboys have lost 3 straight at home.
Hey, Dak signing autographs in the middle of the field.
So I figured out this helmet. This is
player of the game
for each week. Yeah. So each player.
So they just take it.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
That's cool.
The defense, and I don't know the stats on this game, but I'm going to go to the Ravens game. Allowed 274 rushing yards.
Oof.
That's bad. The
Yeah.
Cowboys, they can't stop a nosebleed on defense.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
And I had already written off that game anyways. I was like, they're not beating the Ravens. I don't care.
Got off to such a bad
I
start.
don't care if it was in Baltimore, if it was in Arlington, or on Mars.
Yeah.
They were not beating the Ravens. So I mean, I walk into it, I'm like, you know what? I mean, if they
somehow win,
if they somehow win, it's like found money,
Right.
and I got to drink a shitty drink. It's whatever. But if they lose like they will, and they did, then I'm not surprised. But the Cowboys need to figure out now, because I think it's going to become an issue if they can't start winning at home again. Because they went 16 straight, and like you said, that was kind of
potentially fluky.
You know,
In a way.
there was 2 games in between. 2 games, the Seahawks Lions, like I said, that they could have easily lost and probably should have lost. But it's going to start being an issue, and people are going to start talking about it if they can't win at home anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know their schedule is on top of my head. I cannot remember. But, they start winning at home.
Right.
They have to. And I've never liked their home field advantage. I've always thought it was weak. I think the fans are weak. And that's, I'm a Cowboys fan. It's weak. I think it's like one of the weakest home field advantages in the NFL, and it's like one of the biggest stadiums. So you think like, how does that make any sense?
They do play in a city that is you have people from all over the place living there,
and
so that doesn't help.
To me, the Cowboys Stadium is like when you go to someone's house and their couch is really nice with pillows, and you're not supposed to, like, you probably just don't sit on it. That to me is what the Cowboys Stadium is. It's just pristine. There's little to no like wiggle room on it.
Yeah.
There's no like ass.
No ass marks.
No ass marks.
Yeah.
Like your couch has got
It's
an ass
nice
mark.
and fluff.
Nice and fluff.
Yeah.
Like no one, you can tell no one's probably gotten drunk and slept on that couch.
No.
Yeah, that's Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't make any sense, but it's just.
I think it's a great.
I mean, it's a couch thing. It's not like going to Lambeau.
Yeah.
People spill beer on that couch.
Oh, for sure.
People drool in their sleep on that couch. Yeah. The Cowboys is like, it's like actually worse. It's the plastic wrap over the couch. So that's my Cowboys rant for this episode.
There you go.
So you want to talk about your Niners now?
The Cowboys are 2-2. Better than my Niners. So Niners, they took a really bad L to the Rams this past weekend, 27-24. They led this game 21-7 at one point. 14-0 at one point, for that matter.
Yeah.
I believe it was 24-14 as well, late in the game. And they had this game so far in the bag that it seemed impossible to lose, and they did basically everything to lose the game. And I don't want to take anything away from what the Rams did, but I think even Sean McVay knows that they were absolutely handed this game at the very end.
You got to play all 4 quarters.
You do. You really do. I mean, and I think that is kind of an unfortunate theme that Kyle Shanahan's teams have fallen into.
Yeah.
I
mean, if I was a Niner fan, like, it would, like, I'd have nightmares of 10-point leads,
like
or like multiple point leads.
I tweeted this. I want to say this is like one of his worst losses as a coach, and not that I'm putting it all on him, because the players did make mistakes themselves, but it's a theme that's been happening for many years with this guy. I mean, even right before the Niners hired him as the head coach, he blew the biggest lead. His team that he was on the staff for blew the biggest lead in Super Bowl history, and one of the biggest in NFL history. Yeah. So, really tough one. Especially, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought the Niners. I felt good about the Niners going into this game, even though both teams had a lot of injured players. Excuse me. But to see them basically dominate 3.5 quarters and then let the game just slip right through their hands, it's shitty. It was just like one of the dumbest losses I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, the look on your face, because I was with you, and it was like you were like in disbelief.
I was like, it was comical how they just let it get away. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
I mean, obviously the missed field goal, that sucks, but I mean you had to kick that ball, and then the Charvarius Ward letting what's his fuck get over the top of him. When we should have been playing, basically, I don't want to say prevent, but the idea should have been, do not let anyone get behind you.
You talking about my boy Tutu Atwell like that?
Yes. Yeah. Tutu what's his fuck Atwell. That led to the tying touchdown. And then Ronnie Bell dropping the pass, bro, you got to stay ready. And then the punt return that was like 40 yards that set them up for the game-winning field goal. It goes back to the way the Niners have built this team, and I don't disagree with the way they've done it, but you spend a lot of money on your star players, you're gonna have to give in certain areas, and they just really have never invested in special teams as long as I've known the 49ers.
Okay. Even before Kyle Shanahan.
Even in the Jim Harbaugh era, you could argue, they had, Cal Williams, look at that motherfucker. Don't even get me started. Yeah. Special teams has let them down, I feel like, on plenty of occasions in the last... Every time they've been good, it's been an issue.
Yeah, because you have had Robbie Gould and like David Akers, who
I don't even know if it's not even really the kickers. I feel like it's everything else. Gotcha. Punt coverage, kick coverage. Yeah. In the Super Bowl against the Ravens, kick return for a touchdown right at the gate in the second half. Jacoby Jones.
Your boy Shakes Moody missed his kick to the 50-yarder.
Yeah,
which is not a gimme.
Yeah, it's not a gimme. So I'm not going to really put it on him. It wasn't like it was a totally shanked kick. So yeah, like missing 55-yard field goals, that's not what I'm talking about. It's like the punt return. They've had a blocked punt this season already. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of shit they need to clean up, and I just don't know if they focus enough on the little things as a franchise. Yeah. They're more about having sexy offense and playing tough defense, which is great, but
So we're watching the TNF nightcap is what they call it. Dak Prescott's talking to people. That's fine. I'm looking at the fans in the stands, and I'm looking at these Cowboy fans. And I'm like, these people are all fucking clowns. and I'm thinking to myself, like, do I look like that in public? I look at the fans and I know what they're gonna go through. Yeah, and they do too. Actually, no, those are probably delusional Cowboy fans. That's the issue.
Those aren't real Cowboy fans. If they're in New York, you think?
Well, there's Cowboy fans everywhere.
Yeah,
but are they like real Cowboy fans? Like
that's my thing. It's like if you. Maybe they don't live in New York. Maybe they traveled there for the game. They're just there for the whole thing.
Could have made a week out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I see them and I laugh. I guess I can't really explain why, but I'm like, you guys look like clowns right now. And I'm one of them. Yeah. Like I'm part of the I don't want to call it a family because that's kind of lame, but like.
Would you ever consider like switching
teams? Yeah. I would.
Going and watching one of these things like after a game's over?
I'm talking shit about it, so I should say no.
Yeah. I can't imagine I would do that.
I just would rather maybe like say I was at this game, and what time is it in New York? 11.
Yeah.
I'd probably be like, hey, I'm probably with some friends. I'm like, hey, let's go to a bar.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get the fuck out of here and enjoy ourselves.
This place has stopped selling drinks since the fourth quarter began. So, I probably maybe if it was like a playoff game, maybe Super Bowl win, like that kind of thing.
There's your boys.
That's what I'm saying. Like clown,
female clown.
Yeah, only there because her husband likes the team, right? So it's I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
There you go. I love it
because when I watch other Thursday night games and I see like Buccaneers fans, I see maybe these Saints fans. I'm like, you know what? Good for them. Yeah. I see my team's fans, and I'm like, you guys are all clowns. It's a clown show. The circus is in town right now. That's what it is. Barnum and Bailey's. Circus.
They love the stars.
Yeah,
Right, Theo?
It is, seriously. I should start putting them off the Cowboys. Just root for the Bills.
Yeah.
Root for the Bills.
Save yourself.
Hey, not that rooting for the Bills might be any better. Yeah, they're good right now, but
yeah. It's pretty much been the same story.
A lot of heartbreak.
Yeah.
A lot of heartbreak either way. So.
Got anything else from week 3?
I do, but it's just solely from a fantasy standpoint because I had to tell the story about how I won.
Please do.
About how I won this week. Okay, so going in, so I played Nico this week last week in fantasy.
Yeah.
And going into the Monday night game, he had Tyler Bass, who is the kicker for the Buffalo Bills. I believe that was up 108.1 to like 97.
Something like that.
97 flat.
Yeah.
I think if my math's correct.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a game where the Bills just score on every drive.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of just extra points.
Yeah.
And so he's getting closer. And I was dialed into this game the whole time. I was watching on TV. I had it on my phone while Theo was taking a bath and that whole thing. And it got to the point where the the Bills beat them so bad where both backup quarterbacks were in.
Yeah.
And Mac Jones was in for the Jags. And, of course, I set the phone down to go to the bathroom. I come back. The Bills all of a sudden have the ball on their own 40-yard line.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, my God. I'm going to lose this. I'm going to lose this.
Yeah. So, and
yeah, I forgot to mention the other part. So, I think the Bills' first touchdown, Tyler Bass got his PAT blocked.
Right.
And I texted you, and I kept looking at my phone. Because in fantasy, if you miss a PAT, you get -1 point.
Right. Or a field goal. Just any kick that's missed is -1.
It's a -1.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it. I'm like, why isn't this not going -1? I texted you, and you're like, that is kind of weird. And I eventually got to the point where they weren't changing it, and I thought maybe because they blocked it and he didn't miss it on his own.
Yeah, that was my
it wasn't like operator error. It was
right.
because it was like the line gave in or whatever, or the defense made a good effort to block it. And I was like, at that point, I was like, okay, that's how it is. I'm just going to let it be.
Right.
But then once Mac Jones fumbled it at the 40, and the Bills had it, and there was still like 6 minutes left or 5 minutes. And I'm like, they're going to fucking score again.
Yeah.
They're going to score.
And they did.
And so they scored another touchdown, I think, right? Yeah. Or was it a field goal?
I think they ended up kicking
a 40-yard field goal.
Yeah, something like that.
And so Nico went up 109 to 108.1.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I am just like, and I was 2-0, and I was like, 2-1. It's still,
it's not the worst.
Worst positions to be in, but I was like, you lose by point 0.9, and you feel like shit. Gave up on it because I didn't even think about the old -1 PAT thing.
Yeah.
And so sitting in bed with Devin, clearly just in a bad mood. Like not letting it really ruin the night, but just like obviously it's not like at the lowest of the low.
Right.
You lose a really close game.
Yeah.
And then I get a text from James, and he says, "Hey, 3 undefeated teams this week." And I thought he was fucking with me. I thought he was like rubbing in that I lost so closely.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, it must be nice." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Nico beat me by 0.9." And he was like, "Go check again." And I was like, "Wait." I was like, wait. I was like, "No, you're kidding me." I went back. They made the correction finally. It must have been after the game.
I think it was like right after the game.
Right after the game. They made the correction. So Nico got the -1 on the 109, so we went to 108, and I ended up beating Nico 108.1 to 108.0. That has to be the closest game I've ever won in fantasy.
Oh, you can't get any closer.
No.
Yeah.
And I was the highest. I was the lowest of the low at one point, and then I was literally highest of the high. I was ear to ear. I was ear to ear.
Your text, wow, with a bunch of W's, all caps, and then another text, it's a miracle.
Seriously, that's how I felt. It was a miracle. Because I knew I was onto something, right? I mean, I knew I wasn't crazy for thinking that he should be -1.
I mean, when we were talking about it, I was like, I think they'll just fix it. That maybe just the stat corrections or whatever, like, just need to come into effect or whatever. But,
Well, I texted Nico. I was like, dude, I pretty much like, you motherfucker, or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. And I was like, Tyler Bass missed a PAT. I will die on that hill. He should get -1. And so I texted Nico, and he 3 hours ahead because he lives in New York. And
did he see it the next day?
he did. And I sent him a screenshot, and I was like, wow, bunch of W's, you know what I mean? And he said, all he said back was, what the fuck happened? And then I said, Tyler Bass got deducted for his missed PAT, which he should have to begin with.
Right, yeah.
And for Nico, I mean, that is a terrible loss.
Yeah.
You think you won, you go to bed.
I know, that's such a tease.
You think you won, you go to bed, you wake up, to me, like, not like borderline shit talking.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and now I'm 3-0.
Yeah.
Like, and what was funny is on Sundays, we're talking about the tying situation because it used to be in our league.
Yeah.
The bench points, if you tied,
was a tiebreaker, yeah.
and you got rid of it because you thought it was kind of dumb, which you do agree.
Yeah.
But it's just funny that we were that close to tying, too. So that was my fantasy. I know no one cares about hearing about fantasy, but I thought that was just too good not to talk about.
I haven't heard many stories, but I have heard of stories where stat corrections have affected the outcome of a matchup. That's pretty wild, though. I've never seen it in person, though.
The Mac Jones fumble was the end-all, be-all for me. I was like, oh, my God. I'm going to lose by less than a point. And that would have been just so terrible.
Yeah.
But then Nico loses by 0.1, which is a really like, you think you win, and then you lose by 0.1.
Right, that's tough.
So
really tough.
That's, the closest I've ever won by, because I don't think I've ever tied.
I don't think we've ever had a tie in our league.
No.
Yeah.
So that was... I mean, I'm sure people who play fantasy can understand
Right.
how low I was feeling to having James. I told James, I was like, you made my night. Thank you. I was like, I went from thinking you were talking shit.
It would have been funny if you didn't like realize it to the next day.
That would
I would have told you. I think that night.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have.
Because I might have maybe looked at my fantasy app again.
Yeah.
Or at least in the morning, I'd been like, wait,
Yeah.
what? And now then Nico drops to 1 and 2, which is not a great position.
That sucks for him. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that was like the biggest. Yeah, that was what week 3 did for me.
There you go.
What about you?
No, I don't got anything, but I do got a question. Did Justin Tucker score 10 fantasy points this week?
I'm glad you asked. No, he didn't. He got 3.
3 points.
So Danny,
Mr. Automatic 10.
So Danny, you're 1 for
1 for 2?
1 for
Or
2.
1 for 3.
1 for 3. 1
Yeah.
for 3.
He's only 5 for 8 on field goals this year. He's missed exactly 1 field goal each week.
Danny, who doesn't listen to our podcast anymore, he really should.
Yeah, what a
He really
jackass.
should. We literally shout him out every week now.
Yeah.
All right, we will for the next 16 weeks.
Yeah, 14, 15 weeks. Yeah. Well, at least so fantasy football season's over. Who's your player of the week?
My player of the week is Josh Allen.
Nice pick.
Because no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. He was 23 for 30, 263 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and he sprinkled in a little bit of a
little running.
44 yards rushing.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels, who lit it up on Monday night against the Bengals.
He's going to be a problem for the Cowboys.
He's good, man. 21 for 23 passing. Threw his first passing touchdown this week. It took him 3 weeks, but had 2 passing, 1 rushing, 254 yards. Yeah, the fact that he was 21 for 23, that's... Yeah. And, was just dropping deep ball after deep ball to Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry.
He's becoming for you in fantasy what you wanted Anthony Richardson to be last year.
Exactly right. No, stay healthy, bud.
Also, that Bengals-Commanders game was the first game since 1940 to not have a punt or a turnover.
Wow. That's wild. Yeah, I mean, the Commanders only had 6 possessions. They scored on every single one.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
Jeez, what was their time of possession, I wonder?
I think they just were all putting together kind of long drives. Yeah. I do want to... Back to the Niners rant. Shout out to Brock Purdy, who had, I think, arguably his best game as a 49er.
I mean, given what he had around him, I would,
I think you could, that's why I say arguably. I mean, stat line was great. He had 8 incomplete passes, and 6 of them were recorded as drops. Which, tough scene. And Juwan Jennings had a huge game, too.
Yeah.
Filling in for the injured 49ers. Let's recap our picks from week 3.
I went 0, right?
Yeah, not a good... no, you won 1. You won 1.
But I mean, I think I netted 0.
You netted 0, yeah. You got obviously the Ravens over the Cowboys.
It was a guarantee.
That was your $300 winner, so, can't feel too bad about going 1 and 2. I actually had my first winning week, went 2 and 1.
Congrats.
Plus 400.
All right.
Scored on the Steelers over the Chargers and the Colts over the Bears. Of course, I was looking really good with the Niners and Rams, and that one just slipped away. Just floated away.
That's football.
Yep. So coming into this week, we're both 3 and 6. You're minus 600. I'm minus 400. Still got some work to do.
And what sucks is I did not like any line that I saw this week.
Well, hey, let's just ride your feelings. Who you got this week?
My $300 pick, I'm going Bengals minus 4 at the Panthers. This is a must win for the Bengals.
100%.
Must win.
Absolute.
They have to win this game. They have to. Is Andy Dalton going to have 2 really good games in a row? I'm not sure.
I'm not buying that. Yeah, I think that could have been a little fluky. Yeah. Let's play the Raiders.
My $200 pick, I'm going the Rams plus 3 at the Bears. You made the point earlier, it's not too cold in Chicago yet, but I still don't like the idea of the LA team going to Chicago.
Yeah.
I know the Rams are still hurt.
Caleb Williams has been a little suspect, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think I trust Matt Stafford more than I do Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And then my $100 pick, I just kind of threw this one in there. You actually picked this one, but gave it to me. I appreciate it. I'm going Eagles minus 2. I believe this is at the Bucks too. A lot of road favorites this week. I felt like. I think the Eagles could get their revenge on the Buccaneers from last year's playoffs.
There you go.
Last year, right?
Yeah, that was last year. My $300 pick this week is going to be the Green Bay Packers, assuming Jordan Love is back this week. Even if he's not, fuck it. Minus 3 against...
Yeah.
Yeah, Malik Willis?
Yes.
Yeah. Minus 3 against the Vikings. who I just talked highly of course. But I think it's time for them to be, humbled. They're going to take their first loss of the season.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Because I think Jordan Love, I'm not going to start him in fantasy. I think he still needs to shake off a little rust.
Yeah. I'm thinking the Packers probably lean on the run this week, especially the Vikings got a good pass rush. So they'll probably want to keep Jordan Love on his feet as much as possible.
Yeah.
$200 pick going with the Ravens -2.5 against the Bills. I think it's time for the Bills to take their first loss of the year. Obviously, the Ravens, they being at home, they got plenty to play for after having a tough start of the season. And obviously, they didn't finish that game last week against the Cowboys like they wanted to.
Yeah.
So I think they're still hungry. My $100 pick, I was torn between that Eagles pick, like you just mentioned, but I went with this one. I'm taking the Chargers +7 at home versus the Chiefs. Chiefs obviously are 3-0, but they haven't done it in style.
No.
I am kind of banking on Justin Herbert playing, but I think they can still keep it interesting regardless.
You'd probably still pick the Chiefs to win that game, but just not by more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say the Chiefs are going to find a way to win because that's what they do these days. But yeah.
Ravens Bills, I looked at it and I was like, I'm not even getting close.
That's going to be a good game.
I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
Is that Sunday night?
That's a good question. It might be.
What's up with the Bills getting 3 straight primetime games? All of a sudden, people want to circle the wagons?
Prime time.
Primetime Bills? I'm pretty sure it is Sunday night.
I think you might be right. That seems like a Sunday night type matchup. It is indeed.
And it's in Baltimore?
In Baltimore.
Yeah, okay.
We got 2 Monday night games again this week. Titans-Dolphins.
Oh my god. I almost picked that one because the line's so close.
Yeah, I almost took the Dolphins because I feel like the Titans are just that bad. We got Seahawks-Lions on the other game. That's going to be a good one.
That'll be a good one. Is that in Seattle or Detroit?
That is in Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit 3.5-point favorites.
Do you ever, when you ever watch like primetime games, are you ever stoked that like a place is playing at a certain, like I like watching Detroit home primetime games. I can't explain why. I just do.
It just feels like there's a vibe going on.
Yeah,
there.
I feel like there's kind of a vibe. I like the aesthetic of it.
Honestly, every time I look, and it's because it's a dome, but every time I'm watching a Lions game, I just think it's at night.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if it's bright as fuck.
Like, I'll give you this. Anytime a Jets or a Giants game is played at home during primetime, I don't really care for it.
Okay.
Because I just don't like... I know what the stadium looks like.
Yeah.
I don't care about the atmosphere.
I think Cowboy Stadium kind of brings, or AT&T Stadium kind of brings like a exciting vibe, regardless of when it is. I'm trying to think where else. I do know what you're talking about.
Like, it's just like, you see it, you're like, okay, they're at home, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Who else would I not care for when they're at home?
The Eagles Stadium looks like it's,
Like, if there was a Jags home game on Monday night, I don't really care for that. I'll watch the game, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it puts a sour taste in my mouth if it's at Jacksonville.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sounds kind of weird, but it's how I've always... Like that Miami one, I don't really care for Miami's home field.
I kind of like the way their stadium looks. It's just kind of unique. It's very rectangular. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like the Titans,
especially with the track right next to it now too.
Yeah. like the Titans. Like if that was a home game for the Titans, I wouldn't really care. No. So I'm just kind of weird about that, I guess. Emerson, what time is it?
That was easy.
Yeah, they won today.
You got the dub.
They won today.
Time for last call, baby.
We're taking a shot.
Yeah,
I was gonna say we're long overdue.
Especially drinking light beer.
Yeah. And last week we didn't drink a lot. I mean, we haven't drank. We
really didn't. I didn't even finish my second beer.
No. How are you looking on this? Yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah.
Should we just?
I'm gonna make sure I finish it.
Okay.
This is gonna be an interesting shot. I think we have shot this before once.
Okay. What is it?
It is called Genepi. It is a French liqueur. Yeah, it's very vegetal, a little alpine-y, if you will. See how it goes.
Okay. Cheers. Or, oh, wait.
Yeah, make sure. Swissy swishy.
There we go.
It's interesting. Ooh. Had a weird texture.
You know what I forget to do?
Yoga?
Is the blowout.
Yeah.
I always do the blow in, and I shoot, and I forget to blow out.
You just hold it in?
Yeah. I just forget. Like, you just did that, I'm like, oh, you gotta blow out.
Speaking of Nico,
Yeah?
Stanford beat Syracuse this past week. Upset City. I texted him gracefully the morning after. I mean, it was a little, smart-assish.
Which, with Nico, it can be.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. I love that guy to death. The dude's the biggest smartass I've ever met.
I mean, look how far back I got to scroll to find him.
He texts a lot of people, man. Jeez.
I sent him a little smirky face.
Nothing back?
Nothing.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man.
Nothing. I'm a little sour. Can't lie. But hey, fuck him, man, Syracuse. But yeah, hell of a dub. And Stanford's got to go on the road this week to Clemson. They're 21-point dogs. It could be ugly. But yeah, that was
I feel like if Clemson doesn't get that spread, that's a win for you guys.
Right?
If they win by 20, you might as well count that as a W.
Fuck it. I mean, I don't think Clemson is what they used to be, but they're still pretty good.
Dabo's still wishing he had Trevor Lawrence.
I think Dabo's also got Stanford on watch after they just beat Syracuse. He's like, I'm not letting this one get interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I'm nervous for this week. But hey, I'll take ACC debut for Stanford, victory.
Okay.
And Stanford, I believe, was projected to finish last in the ACC conference this year. So
yeah,
to the writers, if you're watching,
you know they are.
Mm-hmm. You know they are. You got anything, or do you want me to go first?
I got two things, so I guess I'll go first, and then we can just go. Okay, so Rowdy Tellez, future guest of the show.
Glad you brought this up.
Future guest of the show, and also the cousin of our friend Alex, or family member, whatever it is. He got DFA'd by the Pirates, 2 days ago?
Yep.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
He'll get picked up.
Not before the season.
He'll be on a team next year. Yeah. Not a problem. He had a $200,000 incentive when he hit his 425th plate appearance. They DFA'd him when he had 421 plate appearances. And the Pirates have had 3 or 4 games to play. So he would have got that.
Oh, he would, yeah. Because he's been basically their starting first baseman most of the year.
And that is just
cheap shit.
So lame.
Cheap shit. Do not like it at all.
And I know some people might think he's in the league, he's making a lot of money. I mean, compared to us, of course.
Yeah.
But still, $200,000 to just about anybody, you could use it.
Yeah. And coming from a billionaire owner, eat it. You know?
You would probably know, you know better than I would off the top of your head. Were his stats anywhere good this year?
He didn't have a great year by any means. But if you were going to DFA him, don't do it this way. You know, it's yeah. I think someone made a good point, and this is, I don't want this to sound like a shot at Rowdy Tellez, but I was watching MLB Network the other day, and they said, obviously this comes off as a cheap move by their ownership, but also, if you were trying to win, like I said, I don't want it to sound bad, but if you're trying to win, why didn't you go after someone that you could have paid more to begin with to try and actually win games?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just a bad look from the Pirates all around. Because clearly they don't give a fuck about winning, and they're being cheap at the same time.
Yeah, it just sucks. You hear about this? I mean, it's I don't know Rowdy Tellez, but I feel like I do, just because of Alex.
Right, we know him through something.
Yeah, and it's just it's lame.
Yeah,
it's a lame move.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it is.
It is. It's really just it's dirty, cheap, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if he'll do it, but I wouldn't be shocked if there's some kind of grievance filed by the Players Association on behalf of Rowdy.
Why not?
Yeah, you're absolutely.
I mean, shit, $200,000.
It's just way too obvious. You don't. It'd be one thing if he was at $395. But you're 4 plate appearances away.
Yeah,
that's
which he would have gotten in 2 games at the least.
Probably 1 game.
1 game.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
And he's been the starting first baseman the whole season.
Pretty much. He's not exactly an everyday player, but he's pretty close.
That's just it's a slap in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope he's got buddies in MLB and he tells them don't go to this franchise.
Oh, I'm sure there's no.
And other people I heard on the radio. Someone I think it was Mike Kruko. He said other people in the league.
Oh, they noticed that shit. Oh, for sure.
So, I mean, I think for the Pirates, it's not a good look. I mean, it's just for them, they made it even worse.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's lame.
Speaking of baseball, the White Sox.
Do they do it?
So they're one loss away from breaking the modern era record for losses in the season. They're currently 39 and 120. They actually,
God damn.
they actually just swept the Angels to like avoid this to this point. I forget who they finished the season with, but they're 39 and 120. The record is, would be 121 if they presumably get there. Got 3 games left. The Mets in 1962 have the record when they went 40 and 120. Good Lord, that's bad.
That's bad.
I think it's hilarious that because it's been talked about for a while. Like it seemed inevitable.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're at least making it interesting. Some of the guys in the locker room sound like they're kind of not making fun of it, but at least they're trying not to be those guys.
Of course,
that break that record.
But I think I saw a few nights ago when they had the chance to lose and they end up winning the game.
Yeah.
And the fans were like kind of booing because they wanted to see the history. Because history's history. Like if the Giants
I don't disagree.
If the Giants stunk that bad, I mean at that point it's like, you know what? Like you don't want to be the team, but if it's inevitable, let's just root for it.
Right.
In a way, right?
In a way, yeah. I do like history. I like positive history more than this, but that is kind of funny that they're booing. I mean, they're gonna lose another game. They got 3 chances to do it. Like they're probably gonna lose. Let's double check to see who they're playing. Playing the Tigers, and the Tigers are playing for a playoff spot, so they're probably going to lose. They're probably going to lose one of those games.
If they lose just one more, they have the record for most losses of all time
since 1901. It might even be a little bit longer than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Incredible.
I went back and forth with mentioning this, and I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Brett Favre announced that he has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
And
that is
unfortunate. I know that he's recently done some really shitty things.
Yeah.
Welfare stuff.
Right.
He's taking welfare from people who really need it. It's not cool.
Right.
But he's got Parkinson's, and I think that's sad. If some people might say he deserves it, it's karma, whatever.
No.
Fact of the matter is, this is a sports podcast. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. He is.
He is, yeah.
3 straight MVPs. Incredible. I guess I have a soft spot for things like this. It just like, I mean, yeah, he did a really shitty thing, but I don't think that should mean that he deserves this.
No.
Or like
he's also defending himself. It's not like it,
Yeah.
There's claims, so
it just you hear that and you're like, that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
So I think us growing up, Brett Favre was, kind of like the goofy, not prototype. He wasn't like a Tom Brady or Peyton Manning.
He was the total just like backyard football type guy on the field. Yeah. And I'm not sure.
Gunslinger. And I'm not sure what happens after Parkinson's, but I would assume it's probably involves death soon. So
it's not good. I'm not a doctor either, but
I heard that and I was just sad.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Hopefully he gets the treatment that he needs to be as well as possible for as long as possible.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, that is a bummer. My last couple things, PSG, they're playing Arsenal, big match in the Champions League next Tuesday.
Okay.
Fuck the Gunners. Also, NASCAR, first round of the playoffs, round of 16 in the books.
Yeah.
Your boy Kyle Larson wrapped up the last round with a W.
Yeah.
Feeling good?
I'm always feeling good with Kyle Larson, baby.
Martin Truex, Ty Gibbs, Brad Kay, all eliminated. I know that's not a good thing for you with Brad Kay being out, but
no,
you still have the lead in the standings.
Does Dylan still have 2 players left?
He does still have 2 guys in the mix. So standings are, you got 75 points. You got an 8-point lead over Dylan, who's got 67. I'm in 3rd place with 60. Next would be Devin with 51, Garrett 50, Ashley 47, Alex 33, and Danny bring up the rear with 27.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So you still have a shot.
I still got a shot. It's going to take Christopher Bell really doing some damage over the last 7 races. I mean, he pretty much has to win the championship for me. Dylan, he's got 2 guys that are contenders that are still in the mix.
He's in what you would say is the driver's seat, right?
Yeah, he is. He's riding shotgun on the not struggle bus, but the yeah.
Well, luckily I have the best driver in the world on my team. So.
to be determined. So yeah, NASCAR. Fun stuff.
It's been a while since we mentioned it because no one wants to hear it.
Yeah, I've tried to dial it back, but it's playoff time right now.
Yeah.
So we got 3 more races for the next round. I forget where they're going next.
And I know everybody's rooting against me, so yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, the 3-time defending champion, reigning champion. He's got to go down.
Bring it on.
I love Dylan. I don't necessarily want to root for him because I'm in the mix too. But
well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I understand that.
Yeah.
Because wait, you said he has
7.
You got 60.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I'm in shouting distance. I don't know that anyone else really has a shot. Garrett's got both of his guys still in the playoffs, but he needs Chase Elliott and Logano to really do some work for him.
And how many more races are left?
7 to go.
That's a lot. Still.
6 more before the championship race.
Oh man, that's a lot.
Yeah, a lot of time left.
Is there any way any of Dylan's guys can be eliminated between that?
I mean, yeah, if they just don't race well over the next 3 races, because every round is 3 races until the championship is just the final.
Yeah, I mean, I knew having Brad K. I mean, he had that one win, which was like a gift.
Right.
So,
I honestly had a pretty decent season. He had 21 points on his own right. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting ride down the stretch.
So the last 2 weeks after we did a podcast, we've watched The Wedding Singer and The Breakfast Club. What are we gonna? What's gonna be on? What's gonna be on?
What's gonna be on?
Take
some bets.
Well, here's the thing: things can be on, but we can necessarily watch those things.
True.
Because I bet knowing you, if Old School's on, you're gonna throw it on.
I was gonna say I think Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers
is gonna be on. That's
how about we say? I'll say Wedding Crashers too.
Okay, yeah. If that'll be a fitting.
Actually, you'll say Wedding Crashers. I'll say Pulp Fiction.
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm trying to remember what channel we've been seeing because I think it's been the same channel every time. It's just been classic movies. I want to say it's like True TV maybe.
I was gonna say Paramount. Isn't Paramount have a TV
but,
channel?
Yeah, but that's like way down. Like because
okay.
I think it's been in kind of like the TNT range.
You would know
scrolling down.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out. But yeah,
because we'll watch our Sports Center and then you'll be like, let's change it to them.
Yeah. Let's just.
The Breakfast Club.
That was a hitter last week.
It was
I think watching just the last.
Oh yeah. It was a hitter.
Yeah.
But Wedding Singer, it's
yeah.
That might be the most underrated Adam Sandler movie there's ever been.
Wedding Singer's pretty good one.
I feel like it's so forgotten.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's hilarious. It is so goddamn funny.
There's just something about it. There really is. What is this show?
It's actually looks pretty good. It's Evolution of the Black Quarterback.
Oh, interesting. It's on Prime, huh? Maybe that's what we're gonna watch. It's not even out yet.
I'd watch an episode if it was on.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So you got Wedding Crashers, I got Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Pulp Fiction's a deep cut because I feel like IFC is the only channel that would play that, which is not impossible.
That's fair.
Not impossible.
That's fair.
All right. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, we're out here.
Listening. See you next time. Peace.